Hey, what's going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. Hey, listen, if you're catching this early morning, I hope that your Wednesday goes well. Listen, today's conversation is going to be centered around me versus me. Me versus me. We have oftentimes set out in life, man, to feel like we have to attack so many oppositions and so many things that's coming against us, when the true reality is the biggest opposition and the biggest thing coming against us is ourselves. That's just reality, man. Like the biggest adversary in our lives is not the devil, it's not other people, it's not the job, it's not the marriage, it's not the kids, it's not society, it's not political parties and all that other kind of stuff that we could jump into, which are serious topics in right, in its own right. But the reality of it is the biggest adversary, the biggest thing coming against us today, right now, in this moment, is you versus you. Is you versus your thoughts, you versus your mind, you versus everything that you're feeling internally, you versus the trauma from your experiences, is you versus you. So today I want to jump into that conversation. And just start off with these couple of questions. Like, have you ever just walked by a mirror and caught yourself? Or stood in the bathroom mirror and just looked at yourself? Or while you're driving, right? While you're driving and you're about to switch lanes or something, and you catch your reflection and you catch you in your rear view mirror. All within a moment, all within that short amount of time of you catching you. Oftentimes, I don't know about you, but for me, oftentimes a thought flows through my mind, right? It could be, girl, you're doing good. You're doing real good. Keep up the good work. Or it could be, man, you got some work to do. You know what I mean? It's you've come a ways, but you got some work to do. Or it could be, I'm proud of you. You know what I mean? You've overcome a lot of things, a lot of situations, a lot of turmoil, some spoken about, some unspoken. I'm proud of you. Like, there are various conversations that you can have just within that moment with yourself about how you feel about you in that moment. And the reality of it is, that's all that matters, right? All that matters is how I feel about me. If I feel good about me, I don't care what nobody else thinks about me. I don't care what your perspective is. I don't care. Respectfully, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, when I put my head on the pillow, whether I'm sleeping with somebody or if I'm single sleeping by myself, I have to be okay with me. I have to be okay with sleeping with me and knowing that I'm doing my best and knowing that I'm putting my best foot forward. And regardless of what the conversations are about who you are as a person, regardless of what the external conversations are, you're doing a good job. And you have to be okay with knowing that you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. So either way, the man in the mirror, the person that's looking you dead in that mirror, either way, that person, nobody else, like I said, you're doing a good job. But that person knows better than anybody else what you've experienced, what you've had to go through, the many turns and obstacles that you had to face throughout life. That person knows. The person staring you right back in that mirror, that person knows. That person knows the cause of sleepless nights. That person knows the story behind the journey that makes you who you are. That person knows why you tick the way you tick because of experiences that you've had. That person knows. So there's often going to be a fight with that person. We can fight externally all day freely with no problems. We don't have to worry about it. We don't have to fight about it. Think about it. Because you're coming at me. But the reality of it is, my fight isn't even with you. My problems and my situations, despite of how you may be included in those issues, the biggest fight not even with you. My biggest fight is with myself. Trying to conquer my own demons, trying to Make sure that I'm a better person, that when I wake up, the objective of the day is to be better than I was yesterday. The objective, the bigger piece, the bigger portion, and the bigger conversation is that I become, right? So in me becoming, I want to become a better version of me. I want to become a better wife, a better sister, a better daughter, a better friend, right? I want to become better in every area possible in my life. But that's a conversation that I have to have with me to move forward. And sometimes those conversations are hard conversations. And sometimes me becoming better may include tough decisions. It may include I have to let some things go. I have to remove myself from some spaces and some rooms. I have to remove myself from some relationships because I want to be a better version of me. And that's hard. That's hard. Letting go of relationships brings grief in a lot of ways because I can no longer have that person or that space in my life to be able to be that for me as it was before because it's not benefiting me. Does it carry the same grief as losing a loved one? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it does carry a period of I have to mourn the fact that this is no longer in place. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be a relationship. It can be a job. It can be it could be a new home. It could be a lot of things that you have to lose in order to gain. And you may not be gaining physically and in a tangible way, but emotionally, I've gained a different level of peace. Mentally, I've gained clarity. Physically, I've gained better health. So don't always look for the rewards of the fight between you and yourself to be something tangible. But oftentimes, more times than not, the rewards come in spaces and places that can't be touched physically, but they can be felt deeply, right? They can be felt within your soul, within your heart, within your mind, that I've done this work so that now I can become a better version of me, right? So in the journey, and I wrote this down right here, right? The journey may consist of having to make tough choices, tough conversations, and change you. But you have to be sure to never water down the version of you to appease others. Let your no stand 10 toes on why you're refusing to accept. Because at the end of the day, as I said earlier, even if you don't sleep alone, you have to sleep with you. You have to be okay with the choices that you made throughout that day in regards to how it's affecting you. You have to deal with the feelings of all that it brings, whether it's peace or frustration, joy or pain. Like, this is real. You have to be okay with you. You have to be okay sitting with yourself and knowing that I'm making the best choices for myself at the end of the day. It's not okay to water you down to make somebody else feel appeased and feel happy. It's not okay for you to walk into that job and not show up 100 proof because they can't accept you for who you are. And if you don't fall into this category, just keep listening, it'll jump on you. But the reality of it is, it's not okay for us as Black females to keep watering down ourselves because individuals look at how we come across as too much. That's not a you thing, that's a them thing. You keep showing up. You keep being the best authentic version of you as a Black female in 2025. And if they can't accept it, that's on them. Tell them to get a chaser, but you coming out 100 proof. Stop trying to switch. Stop trying to code switch. Stop trying to maneuver. Stop trying to fit into spaces and places that are not built for you. It is no longer round hole, square peg season. No longer. We are finding the right hole for the right peg, and we are moving forward in a positive manner because that is what this season requires for you. That you do the work for you, that you become the best version of you, that you dig deep in you, uproot the things that continue to make you susceptible to not being the person that you're supposed to be, and step out as yourself. Do that work. Do that work and step out as your full self. Because watering down you is not benefiting you. It's benefiting everybody else. And then you have to go home and you have to deal with the fact that I should have said, I could have said, I would have said, I should have showed up this way, I should have did it this way, I should have spoke up in this. Nah. We're not dealing with that anymore. We're not dealing with it. We're not sitting in that any longer. We're saying what we have to say unapologetically, respectfully. And however it lands, however it falls, it's not on you. And if situations fall off because of your truth and you showing up as the best version of you, it wasn't meant to be. And find peace and solace with that. Find peace that you showing up as the best version of you, you being your authentic self, you showing up in a way that you don't have to question later, and then others still feel like you should have did it a different way. It's not on you. It's not on you. It's on them. Respectfully. Respectfully. But right now, this war that we're fighting, it ain't nothing to do outside. It's nothing to do outside. It's everything to do internally. It's everything to make me show up as the best version of myself, so that I can be at peace with me, so that I can be happy with who I am, so that I can be happy with the person that I got to sleep with every night, the person that I got to walk around with every single day. So I want to leave you with these two. Choosing you may not please everyone all the time, but it darn sure will please you all the time. Remember that in your mind. Choosing you may not appease and please everybody all the time, but it will absolutely, when you get used to it, because at first it's going to feel funny. At first it's going to feel like, I shouldn't have did it that way. Their feelings is hurt. When you get used to it, it will absolutely please you all of the time. It will give you a different level of peace in your life all of the time. And lastly, because this is a process, none of this is just going to happen because you're listening to this podcast. None of this is going to happen because you tuned in and you're watching this. None of this is going to happen that way. But the reality of it is results happen over time. Over time. It's like a slow release tablet. You're going to get hit with it over time. It's not a one bang. It's an over time. I keep repeating it because I want you to get that in your mind and in your heart. Because I don't want you to grow weary in trying to do and trying to be better, and it's not happening fast. Remember, this is happening over time. We are all on this me versus me journey. It's happening over time. So results happen over time, not overnight. Remain consistent, work hard, and most of all, keep believing in yourself. Because listen, if you don't, who will? If you don't believe in you, who is? So stay true to your journey, stay true to yourself, and stay true to making yourself a better version of you every day. Every day. Every day I wake up, I have in my mind, what can I do better today than from yesterday? Because the reality of it is, like I always say, today is the tomorrow that you prayed for yesterday. Catch it? You said, tomorrow I'm going to do. So now you're standing in your tomorrow. Now what are you going to do with it? You have a new 24-hour tomorrow. Right now, right in this moment, what are you going to do with it? How are you going to move forward with your tomorrow? How are you going to make sure that there's something, even if it's small, there's something that I know I did for me to make me a better person today than I was yesterday? All right? I hope this encourages you. I hope this speaks to you in some way. I hope that this touches your heart and gives you some peace in knowing that it's okay to be in spaces and places where you're fighting yourself. I also hope that it encourages you to move individuals out of the way and focus on what you see in that mirror. Because like I said, when you walk by those mirrors and you get those glimpses, you get the glimpse of who you are. And you see for a quick second, even if it's just for 5 seconds, you see who you are and where you are, potentially. You can also see the future you. Like you could get a quick glimpse of where I'm supposed to be. And that becomes the motivation and the fuel for you to keep going forward. Whatever it is that you see, just know it's always you in that mirror. It's always you talking back to you. It's always you standing there looking at yourself in the face, reminding you that it's never been about the yesterday version. It's always been about that today R.E.A.L. These are the conversations that I have to have with myself sometimes. That who I was 10 years ago is not about her. She did the absolute best she could. She stood and did her absolute best. And in her worst decision, it was the best at the time. So I can no longer live in 10 years ago R.E.A.L. But it's always been, even 10 years ago, it was always about today. The decisions and the choices I made 10 years ago was always about today. Material things, I may have missed the mark. But me as the person and me becoming, it's always been about today. It's always been about the boldness that I've developed from 10 years to now. It's always been about the sureness that I've developed from 10 years to now. The plan isn't to remain the same. The plan is to become better. So every single day, I'm becoming. And my prayer and my hope is that every single day for you, you continue to become. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful day. I pray God's very best over your life. I pray that you continue to move forward in a positive direction. And remember that we're all doing this thing for the very first time. So I pray that you continue to give yourself grace. I pray that you continue to give yourself patience, and that you continue to live in a space where you're not trying to please anybody before you try to please yourself. I love y'all. Please, peace. Fly team. Rep the brand. Live the movement. We not far behind. We always connected. Real talk.
Oh my God.